Part one, my diagnosis and symptoms. My symptoms were blood in my stool, an alarming amount of blood in the toilet after using the bathroom. It could sometimes be consistent and be every time, and then sometimes it was not very consistent. But it took me like 3 weeks to finally go to the doctor and figure out what was causing this, and I was terrified. I kept Googling other things that can be, and we all know Dr. Google. You can Google and Google, and you're going to find the narrative that you want. And what I was looking for was, I don't have cancer. And I could find that, but I still went to the doctor. So I started with my primary and gave him all of my symptoms, which really only was blood in the stool. That was really all it was. He asked me about bloating. He asked me about cramping. He asked me about my eating habits, drinking habits. And ultimately, he felt the next move needed to be for me to see a gastroenterologist. He felt that it was likely worst case scenario ulcerative colitis or irritable bowel syndrome. So in a way, I felt, well, that's good. You didn't say the C word. So I went on to the gastroenterologist a couple weeks later. During this time, I still had blood when I would use the bathroom. So I'm speaking to the specialist, and I am giving her all the same symptoms. And she was real vague on what she thought it might be. So I flat out asked her, do you think that this is cancer? And she said, no, those symptoms don't represent with colon cancer. And I was like, great. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. That's exactly what I needed to do. And she said, you're too young. At the time, I was 46. And she said, do you want to do a colonoscopy? And I wanted to say no because I thought, I'm good. And I thought it was 50 was when you were supposed to have your colonoscopy. I was 46. But yes came out of my mouth. So I went ahead and I scheduled that colonoscopy, and a couple of weeks after that, I had that. I was not afraid at all. I had my primary. I had my my gastroenterologist specialist tell me, likely not cancer. So I have my colonoscopy, and I wake up and I see my husband crying. And I see the looks of the nurse and the doctor in the room. And I am told that I have about a 4 centimeter large tumor in my rectum, and that he took a biopsy of it and has to send that in to get the confirmation if there is cancer or if it's benign. But he said it is likely cancer. By the looks of it, it is attached. It is likely cancer. Worst day of my life. Worst day of my life. Everything changed in just an instant that I didn't even know what to do with myself. I'm going to leave it there, and then I'll move on to part two with what happened after that as far as finding out if it was cancer or not.